After today's relatively useless trip to the southern border, it is no wonder Kamala Harris was polling at almost nil before dropping out of the presidential primary. Harris is everything that Americans hate about politics: phony, elitist, out of touch, robotic, unnatural. Nearly 100 days after her appointment, the border czar finally made it to Texas to see the immigration and humanitarian crisis caused by a virtue-signaling, logic-ignoring administration. The sad reality is conservative media badgered Harris for months about going to the border. We spent a lot of time on this. The rest of the media joined in recently, having to at least pretend to hold liberals in government accountable, and it was all a total waste of energy, and we should have known better. Kamala Harris visiting the border meant absolutely nothing. Here she was today.
The important aspect of this visit is leading this visit after the work that we did in Guatemala and Mexico. Because as I've long said, I said back in March I was going to come to the border, so I'm glad to be here. It was always the plan to come here, and I think we're going to have a good and productive day.
Remember how they used to keep count of all the lies that Trump would say? There was like 8 lies in that statement. It was never always the plan, and she's not going to have a productive day because she's not going to do anything. The funniest part is Kamala Harris didn't even actually visit the border. She got close, but she avoided seeing where illegals cross. She avoided the areas where coyotes dropped the kids over the wall. She avoided the Rio Grande where dead bodies had been found. She avoided getting anywhere near the officers running themselves ragged doing a job in which they've been set up to fail. Harris landed at the El Paso airport and got some FaceTime with the media, and then traveled about 10 miles north, deeper into the USA, to a Customs and Border Protection facility located about 15 miles away from the actual point of entry. It's going to be interesting to watch what the border does to Kamala's electability for 2024. The last thing Harris needed was a failed task to make her look incompetent. As we know, she's already unlikable. It's very hard to be both of those things, even in Washington. Harris took a lot of heat today for avoiding the sector where her policies have produced the greatest amount of chaos. The Grand Tour took place about 1,000 miles away from the Rio Grande Valley. That's near the Gulf of Mexico, where the crisis is at its worst. She didn't go to the Donna facility in the Rio Grande sector, which has been an overcapacity nightmare for months, a problem created by this administration thanks to utterly idiotic comments like this from candidate Joe Biden, desperately trying to keep up with the far-left liberals during primary season. Take a look.
I would, in fact, make sure that we immediately surge to the border. All those people are seeking asylum. They deserve to be heard.
Surge the border. From the guy that would become the president of the United States. We immediately surge the border. With comments like that on replay around the world, the coyotes and cartels began coordinating. Ask the administration today, and they will angrily deny ever incentivizing illegal immigration. They are bold-faced liars. They lie about everything. Today, Kamala distanced herself from the crisis and also took every chance she could, of course, to lay the blame on anybody but herself.
And as you know, we inherited a tough situation. In fact, right here in El Paso was the launch of the child separation policy.
They can't go 10 minutes without mentioning child separation. It was a tough but effective policy. And at the same time, we all see now what happens when you begin to pander to illegal migrants and make illegal crossing more attractive. You get this disaster and this tremendous misery. So in reality, which one is really worse? The White House said they chose El Paso because they wanted to emphasize the difference between their administration and the Trump administration. The difference is clear. Reuters reports today U.S. border arrests topped 1 million in fiscal year 2021. I bet they didn't want that to happen while they were there, but it did anyway. And it's pretty amazing. At the current pace, Reuters reports the total border arrests for the fiscal year, which ends on September 30th, would be the highest since 2000, when nearly 1.7 million were apprehended by U.S. authorities. The White House will try to escape this crisis unscathed. Kamala will try. It won't be possible. But of course they can try. The blame continues to be put on quality of life in Northern Triangle countries, which of course hasn't changed in any measurable way from when crossing numbers were dramatically lower. Their excuse is total nonsense. But that's not to say that Central Americans live well. They never have. It's always been a much better life in the United States. But only recently has that become your problem.
Our approach to this issue has to be with a commitment to a long-term investment. So I am committed to ensuring that we engage in an active way on the root causes, on addressing the cause and effect, and also being partners in the Western Hemisphere, understanding that we have a responsibility, and if we ignore that responsibility, it will visit itself upon us in a very domestic way.
We have a responsibility. You now have a responsibility to fix the rest of the world. She said that. Nobody questions it. What the hell is going on with this country? It is your responsibility, the American taxpayer, to fix other countries. Clearly, this country is perfect and we have way too much money, obviously. It's all about the root causes, too, which, of course, is the phrase the vice president clings to, that talking point, like a life raft in the open sea. It's Friday night, so let's play a little drinking game. I got the shot glass right here in the back pocket. Let's take a shot every time you hear the phrase root causes. Roll the tape. This is all today.
The effects of what I've already been addressing, which are the root causes of migration, to address the root causes which cause people to leave and often flee, was about addressing the root causes. Reinforce the nature of those root causes. Addressing the cause, the root causes, concern ourselves with the root cause issues, taking a leadership role on root causes, the actual root causes that we have placed on the root causes, the overall issue, which is root causes, to invest in the root causes, engage in an active way on the root causes.
And I need to go to the hospital. Yes, the root causes. We must turn Central America into San Diego. We got to fix those root causes. That is the new mission. $28 trillion in debt in this country, and we are now working to fix other countries. Can you imagine a Democrat suggesting a plan like this 50 years ago? Let's dump billions of dollars into making Central America a nicer place to live rather than just secure the border that we have. It is astonishing how liberal this country is becoming. It's unbelievable. And funny enough, Democrats say that all these people are escaping violence in their homelands. Well, check out some of these numbers. This is our country. Violent crime in this country is surging really bad. Parts of some American cities are as dangerous as El Salvador. How sad is that? And for the record, we all know why Kamala Harris finally made that journey to the border. There was no way the administration could let Donald Trump visit before them. The optics would be horrible. The reasoning they give for this trip is such a demonstrable lie. Check this out.
The reason I am here in Guatemala as my first trip as Vice President of the United States is because this is one of our highest priorities, and I will continue to be focused on that kind of work as opposed to grand gestures.
I'm glad to be here. It was always the plan to come here.
So it was a grand gesture when she was in Guatemala and Mexico, and now it was always the plan to go there. What a contrast. It's all so obvious, and it's all such a lie. And check out how Kamala was greeted today. Read some of these signs.
Good morning, America. This is Irene Armendariz Jackson in El Paso, Texas, and I'm here to say, Kamala, you came a little too late. We have had this crisis for years. We need solutions. We don't need you parading on the Border Patrol station or acting like you care.
Something else. The people who actually live in these places are rightfully angry. You notice Kamala didn't invite Democrat Henry Cuellar to join her on this trip. He's the guy that's been making a lot of noise about this. He's a Democrat. Cuellar represents border communities. These policies are going to force him to flip Republican if we're not careful. This is a real problem. It really is. And yet every aspect of this trip just dripped with politics, including the company that the vice president chose.
A meeting with the governor?
Between the vice president and the governor.
I am happy to check with them and see if there was or if that was ever a part of the plans. There certainly is a connection between the important work the vice president's doing in the Northern Triangle, where we've also seen a reduction in migration of unaccompanied children since March and since April. So that's the purpose of their visit. In terms of direct consultation with the governor, I'm happy to check and see if there's more I can read out for you.
Didn't even coordinate with the governor of the state she was going to. Yeah, they're really trying to fix the problem. It's not about facing any kind of reality in this thing. It's all about orchestrating a political message.
Congress needs to do its part when it comes to immigration reform. It has been 35 years since we've had an immigration bill.
Agreeing that we need immigration reform in our country. And
I am hopeful that Congress will pass immigration reform.
What do you think their immigration reform would even look like at this point? With all the nonsense, with how far left they've moved on this subject, what is their immigration reform? Open borders, one sentence? Open borders, period. They don't want to do anything. They don't want to stop people from coming. They incentivized it. Biden said, surge the border. They don't like stopping people. They pretend that they are. They're making all of these rules, including trying to get here through asylum, easier to game the system. So what's the plan that they really want? They don't want a plan. A new call to action that's not actually a new call to action at all is what they asked for today. Kamala said today they've made progress, which is just an incredible statement. Like saying the sky is green, and the media, of course, just accepted it as fact. Yes, they've made progress.
Hey, I'm Rob Finnerty. Thanks for watching. If you enjoyed this video, please join the conversation in the comments below. Don't forget to subscribe, too. Hit the bell icon to be alerted to breaking news. And remember, there's a whole lot more on Newsmax TV, America's fastest growing cable news network. Newsmax TV, where real news for real people.